What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Bronx Pinstripe Show, recording this right after the Sunday crushing loss. We're brought to you today by Yankees-Rays, our good friends with the amazing deal in sunglasses where you can get a new pair if you break them. I felt like breaking my pair of Yankees-Rays after Garrett Cole blew that 6-0 lead. Go get a pair for yourself by going to yankeesrays.com and using our promo code BRONX for 50% off 2 or more pairs of polarized sunglasses. Scott, we were just chatting before we press record here. The division odds now 10 games back of Tampa with only 10 head-to-head matchups remaining versus them. You know, that's a difference this year with the balanced schedule, because any other year you still got 16 games left against Tampa, which you're still 10 games back, but there's a lot more head-to-head matchups. So 10 remaining with Tampa, coupled with the fact that there's just a lot of good teams in this division. Even the Red Sox, who we thought were going to be shitty, they seem to can't lose recently. So it's like, damn,
I told you that Cora was going to put together a freaking run
because
with this
Cora
team.
can manage. Okay,
yes,
Cora
he's a good
knows
manager.
how to manage.
Yes,
but these division odds, they're slim at this point.
Yeah, it's a massive deficit when you're in May, and everybody who's listening to this and looking at the glass half full it's May, so there's opportunities here. But when you're the last place in the division and you're 10 games out, now you not only have to overcome, you're just talking about the Tampa amount of games left with them, and there's another 4 next week, and then we don't see them until much later in the season. So
right.
You know, that 4 games coming up next week with this team, you know, not doing so great is becoming even more important. Yeah. And then you have Baltimore, who has, I think, the best record in baseball since the second week of April. You have the Boston Red Sox, as you just mentioned, who are playing well above their what they should be playing on paper. They're getting some big production from some of their offensive players that I don't think a lot of people realized they were going to get. And Cora just knows how to manage. And then you have Toronto, who might be the most talented roster in the entire division, who's above them as well. So it's going to be an absolute climb. And the fact that they're putting themselves in this massive deficit in the beginning is just, it's going to be really hard to overcome. This is a different year. This is a different year in this division. I know that there's, you know, a lot of playoff opportunities, and that's a good thing now, because we're going to be needing them, because this division is looking, even in May, it's hard. It's like, I feel stupid saying this, but it's true. There's a lot of things that have to happen now when you're 10 games out, and you have another 4 coming up with the same team that just took 2 or 3.
So live odds, Yankees are plus 500 to win the division. So somehow the Orioles and the Red Sox are even further odds to win the division, but I guess they're still basing that on what the rosters could be. So you mentioned, they've got 4 next weekend at home, and then 3 at the end of July, early August, and then 3 at late August. And that's it. That's the last you see of Tampa. On the one hand, you can look at this weekend and you're like, well, the Yankees have a busted ass lineup right now, right? Like they're a shell of themselves, and they nearly took 2 of 3. You should have taken 2 out of 3. You've got your ace on the mound in the 5th inning of a 6-0 ball game. You need to win that game, and you need to go home, and you need to be like, you know what? We just took 2 out of 3 with a busted ass lineup against Tampa, the best team in baseball so far this year. That would have felt really fucking good if they could have closed out today's win.
You know what? Instead, I blame myself. I got soft. I got soft on Garrett Cole. I mentioned in the last episode that I was starting. Yeah, that I'm like, oh, he's on my good side now. Everything's fine. It's good. He's got that killer instinct this year. And up until today, he absolutely has. But yeah, we saw 2022. What year is it? 2023, 2022 Garrett Cole, where you're giving up that big home run to let a team back in the game, and it had a meltdown after what I thought in the 5th inning when he gives up a solo shot. I'm like, okay, cool. First home run of the season. Not a big deal. It was a solo shot. It's a 6-0 game. I want you attacking the zone. I want him to be right there. I had zero problem with that. I'm like, these are the home runs that you should give up, to be honest. And then the full meltdown, happened in the 6th inning I don't even think he got a guy out, right? In the 6th.
He did. I mean, his slider was terrible today. He looked good early in the game, but you could see Tampa was figuring him out as they were going through the lineup for the second time.
That's just the slider that he gave up. Betancourt, the home run was
the 3-run homer.
It was a terrible pitch.
So the second guess there is you've got a clearly struggling Garrett Cole on the mound with the tying run at the plate. He's been the best pitcher in the American League this year. That's one side of this. The other side is our bullpen right now is on fumes. And
on fumes, but also ranked. I think before this game they were number one ranked bullpen. So
it's a tough call. That's a tough decision. Didn't you bring up last week how CC Sabathia with Chris
exactly
Long
I was just going to say that
was like, anyone you bring out of that bullpen, unless they're the greatest relief pitcher of all time, I feel 80% of me, 90% of me is going to be better, and that's exactly how Garrett Cole is feeling, and that's honestly how I was feeling in the moment with how Garrett Cole had been pitching this year.
It was the 6th inning. The pitch count was in fine shape. I think he was at 90 some pitches. Yeah. I mean, the only thing that I'm looking at is first 2 guys got on, and now no outs, first runners on first and second. You're for sure. Was there someone warming up in that time, or was there someone in the pen? That I don't remember, but that's what I'm looking at. Like, I'm probably
who do you
pulling
go
him
to
at that
though?
point.
Because here's the decision, which would have been tough. It's like, do you go to Michael King in that situation? Because that is the leverage spot in the game right there, tying run at the plate. So you don't want to go to a middle reliever, even if they've been good. It's like, no, you got to go to your number one guy to get through that inning, and then maybe King can pitch the 7th as well, and then you've got hopefully still a 3-run lead, or the Yankees can tack on some insurance runs. So the decision would have been Garrett Cole or Michael King, in my opinion, right there.
Yeah, and when you lay it out like that, but I don't think who was up in the pen at that point when
Cordero was warming. I'm not going to Cordero for Garrett Cole with the tying run up.
For sure, I'm not either, and that's the thing. So my point was that King wasn't even up, so that wasn't even a consideration. But if we're looking at all things equal, and we're playing manager, and King's available, then yeah, we're playing that fire extinguisher role. We're playing that fire extinguisher role.
But
even
the tough
honestly,
situation,
like, even Holmes in that Holmes has been good in the 8th, but you're not really messing with him at this point.
I'm not going to Holmes in that spot for Garrett Cole.
King's the guy.
King's the guy because he's a right-handed pitcher. He's going to keep the ball in the ballpark, and he's been freaking unhittable.
Yeah, but again, you
would have had to have him warming up.
Easy Monday morning quarterback situation. It's not an obvious thing.
I just was listening to Boone talk because they asked him this very question, so I figured it would be relevant. He said, yeah, there was consideration. Marinaccio and Ian Hamilton were both unavailable. And he specifically said, obviously Cole's been good, and he's been really good, which we've talked about, at him managing situations was the verbiage that he used. And he said, but hindsight is 2020, and he was really starting to miss with his secondary pitches, with his slider, with his curveball, with his changeup.
Did he mention going to Cordero instead, or just in general pulling him?
They asked him in general pulling him. He also talked about King. He was available for 1 inning. He was not going to be multi-innings today. He said it might have used him in 4 outs in the right situation. So it looks like it would have been Cordero. I remember watching the game said I would manage this game backwards. I would go best to worst.
Because you've got the lead right there.
Right.
You get out of that, and even if it's 6-4 out of that situation, you've still got the hammer on Tampa there, and you can hopefully tack on to their bullpen. And they might manage the rest of that game differently. Cash might manage the rest of that game differently if it's 6-3 or 6-4 coming out of that instead of 6-6.
Absolutely. But you have to also think about it. Like I would have managed it differently, but also, okay, so if he goes to, I don't know who, if he goes to King there and then he goes Wandy, Clay, like someone's got to pitch more than they did. You know what I mean? There's not enough pitchers then.
Yeah, and I'm looking at Wandy as the guy that they're probably stretching. That was the biggest lead that they've blown since September of 2019.
But no one expected Ian Hamilton to get the freaking save on Saturday night. So who knows? Maybe Cordero can get the 9th inning.
Right. Well, and maybe like you said, he manages differently. Maybe they tack on a few, and now it's 7-3, 7-4.
Right. Exactly. You've got some breathing room.
It's the philosophy of identifying when the biggest moment of the game is and who you're throwing in that point. And in the past, Boone has talked about using guys in that fire extinguisher role, and that was truly a fire extinguisher role if you're pulling Cole. But again, they didn't pull Cole. So that's really what it is rooted in, is the fact that they were going with Cole, which look, I don't have a massive problem with, to be honest. Cole needs to not spin that pitch over the plate for a 3-run shot. He needs to limit the damage and get out of that. But
because it's 6-2 going into that inning. So already right there, you're not thinking we've got to get Michael King starting to warm up. So that's a situation where, because
shit changed quickly because of the first 2 guys getting on.
That's true. So you would have had to rush getting King up in that spot,
and you're not
and
doing
then
that.
Try and somehow delay, but you can't delay. You can't throw over to first base 11 times anymore.
Yeah, you're not doing. Yeah,
the
more I think about it, I think it would have been very difficult to get King into that situation. Not knowing what we know now, it would have been, in the moment, that would have been a very difficult thing to do, because it was not a fire extinguisher roll at 6-2. It wasn't until those 2 guys got on, and all of a sudden the tying runs out at the plate.
Which is why it's easy to sit here and say, as Boone said, hindsight's 20/20. Would it have been better to pull him that? Yeah, obviously he gave up a bomb to center field.
Yeah.
But let's not overlook the fact that Garrett Cole cannot give up a 6-0 lead in the 5th inning when you're trying to win a series against Tampa. He needs to lock that down.
100%. And he will say the same thing. And this has been the first blemish. It's a big blemish. Honestly, it's a big one because of who it's against and the fact that they lost the series because of it. But
that could have given them life, though.
It's hard to kill him. It's hard to kill him. Even though I want to, I'm having a hard time killing him because of how good he's been.
They've won every game up until this point that he started. There was James Smythe tweeted out after the game some just ridiculous stats. Until today, the Yankees were 21-0 when giving Cole 6 or more runs of support, and Garrett Cole's teams in general 64-2 when giving him 6+ runs of support. So unbeatable in those situations.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they whether they won today or not, the division was going to be a long shot, as we said, but setting up for the rest of this week and going into next weekend, today's win could have been massive because you've got Oakland coming in. Oakland absolutely sucks. And then you could have maybe gotten some momentum sweeping Oakland going into a 4-game series against Tampa. And that could still happen. And it's only 1 game, but just vibes wise, right? Like feelings wise, it would have felt a lot better coming out of this weekend because they competed in every game that they So
I don't know how much yes, they lost the game, lost the series, but for the guys in the clubhouse, it is 1 game at the end, right, when you're looking at this. So I don't think it's as much as we make of it for the guys in the clubhouse because of the fast turnaround, because they're going to be playing them again in such short time that I don't think it matters. I still think you can get that momentum from Oakland, and now you have you have revenge, the ability for revenge right around the corner. You don't have to wait for it this time. It's coming up like very fast.
Yeah, Glass Half Full is on the flight home tonight. They're saying, we had them in every game. We had 3. Yeah, at least taken 2 out of 3. You were right there to take 2 out of 3. And Friday night was a winnable game too when they came back, when Bader ties that game. Yeah, so
Bader. Yep.
Yeah,
right. It's like this actually
real.
This should be a Harrison Bader appreciation podcast because that dude is balling ever since he put on like maybe it's the the Bronxville native coming home that turned him into Mickey Mantle, but this kid's playing really good baseball.
Coming up with
damn good defender.
Clutch ass hits too.
Yeah.
I was reading this article in The Athletic. So apparently we obviously talked about the mouth guard as like a turning point for Bader, but the bat handle, he changed up his bat handle heading into the playoffs last year. So he was struggling when he was coming back with the Yankees in the regular season last year. And then this Athletic article, I'm going to read you a little blurb. While at home in the days leading up to the American League Division Series, he picked up an autographed bat given to him by good friend Pete Alonso. As he took some practice swings, he liked the flared handle that more resembled that of an axe instead of a traditional knobbed bat. His swing felt smoother than it had in quite some time. He's been using it ever since.
It's a flare, so it's got like
it's got that little like
contour at the bottom.
Yeah, it's that little flare at the bottom instead of just a traditional circle knob. You see guys with it a lot.
I got to see it in my head. I can't picture it. But I mean, the
Google
bat automatically has a flare, but that one's more of like is it just on one side?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah. It does look like more of like a weapon. It looks like something you'd use for like
it's like a battle club from
it's like
the War
like
of 1812.
it kind of looks like a field hockey stick at the bottom. It kind of looks like a field hockey stick.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So, getting back to the bullpen, I was watching Boone's post-game presser after Saturday night, in which Clay Holmes pitched the 8th inning, and then Ian Hamilton closed out the game. And he was asked point blank a few questions about, what does this mean, basically? So he said, asking about Hamilton closing the game, he quickly praised Clay Holmes. Like, he was asked, oh, what did you see with Hamilton closing that game out? He didn't answer that question. He just immediately praised Clay Holmes. So in my mind, I'm like, well, he's trying to pump up his guy there. And then he was asked if he gave Hamilton a heads up that he would be used to close the game. And Boone said, yeah, when we told him to get warm. Asked if there'd be more opportunities for Hamilton to close. He said, we're just trying to put our guys in the best position to be successful. And then he said he was asked if the 8th inning can be a confidence boost for Holmes, and Boone said that the noise is not indicative of how he has pitched, but he also acknowledged that getting the double play was huge after that leadoff single in the 8th. And then if there would be more closer opportunities for Holmes, he kind of didn't really answer the question, but I found a lot of those answers interesting.
So he didn't want to crush his guy because it's the easy thing to do for the media to pick up on. Oh, Clay Holmes no longer the 9th inning guy, no longer the closer of this team, and that very well may be true.
That is true.
He's not the closer of this team right now. There's
no
closer.
clear cut closer.
There's no closer. For this
situational.
Team.
It's based on who is not pitched the day before. It could be Clay Holmes, could be Wandy Peralta, could be Michael King, and could be Ian Hamilton.
That said, Clay Holmes pitched well his last 2 times out, pitched well again today. Yep. It's very, very reclaimable very quickly, I think, as well. It's really just a matter of him getting right, and I think that he will put him back in that 9th inning consistently.
So
that's just the way I see Boone. The way he's not answering this question, he's not saying that it's an open job. That's not what he's saying at all. He's avoiding the question, as you mentioned. So this leads like, can we self-correct here without having to talk about it? And I think that's what's happening.
So you think they'd prefer to have someone clear cut 9th inning?
I think, I do. I think every manager kind of wants that, but this one, because he was anointed essentially last year at the beginning of the year, you'd have to.
No, it wasn't the beginning of the year. He earned it last year.
Yeah, he did.
He earned that closer job.
Yeah, I'm not saying he didn't. But it was acknowledged that he was the closer, and for that to change, then you'd have to take that job away from him. And he's, like you said, avoiding that question with an answer that has anything to do with who the closer is, really. So
wasn't it pretty early in this season where Holmes pitched the 8th inning in a spot, and we were like, oh, that's surprising. I want to say it was like the first week or week and a half of the season. I don't remember the matchup. Logan is going to pull the matchup, but so even though Holmes was the closer to start the season, already they were being a little bit more flexible on leverage spots for their guys.
Yes, but and I hope that that's the case. Even if you have even if Clay Holmes is the chosen closer, and that's what we're calling him, he's the closer. You still, again, this goes back to the conversation with today with Michael King in that situation. Granted, different because it was a 6-2 ball game, but if you're going to use your closer in the 8th inning because you're at the heart of the lineup and you're essentially closing that game, right? You're holding that game for the close at that point. Then I want you to use your closer. I want you to use your best pitcher. So you can be the closer. It doesn't necessarily you always need to pitch in the 9th inning. Doesn't always mean you need to pitch.
That's what a dedicated 9th inning guy is. It was April 14th
traditionally you're going to be in the
Minnesota.
9th inning, but if there's a very high leverage situation against a good team, and it so happens that that's in the 8th inning, and there's a different situation in the 9th inning, then use your closer.
But then that's not a dedicated 9th inning guy.
No, he's your dedicated closer. He's closing the game in the 8th inning.
But we've seen this time and time again, year after year. For whatever reason, when that scoreboard says 9th inning, some guys poop their pants.
It's true. I don't think he's that guy, though. I think he's just lost himself mechanically.
Dellin Betances, okay?
Dellin Betances,
6th inning,
fine.
Bases loaded, nobody out. He'll strike out the side. 7th inning, no problem. 8th inning, he'll retire him 1, 2, 3. 9th inning, he can't find the strike zone.
Ninth inning, look out! There's going to be a hole in the
Randy
screen behind
Levine
home
up
plate.
there eating cotton candy, watching Dylan Betances try and pitch the ninth inning.
Why is he eating cotton candy?
I don't know, because his hair looks like cotton candy.
So I'm just looking at Clay Holmes's stats because I was looking for that 8th inning appearance. So Clay Holmes gave up 2 runs on opening weekend. That was, yeah. Since then, he's only given up earned runs in 2 more games. And
But
he's pitched. Today was his 14th game. So our eye test says, "Ooh, this guy's real shaky. This guy feels like he gives up a run every time he comes in the game. He's been clean." What is
clean,
that?
clean, or coming in
or
for
no
in the
runs?
middle of an inning for Boone.
He's been no runs, and most of the time he pitches.
But look at all the base runners, because he's we talked about last week, 11% walk rate. So right. I just feel like there's a lot of base runners with him.
There is a lot of base runners, but I think part of the reason that they might be so why they're so adamant about continuing to put him into these situations is because they feel like he's actually pitching better than the fans are giving him credit for.
You can't walk 11% as a closer. This is exactly why this is exactly why we had an open opportunity for a closer.
Yeah, but Chapman, I mean, it took like 5 years for that to like.
I'm just saying, as a closer, no matter what your name is or what team you're on, if you're walking guys as a closer, there's a problem.
And if Clay Holmes does not get that walk rate under control, he's going to start giving up more runs. It's only a matter of time.
Yeah.
And so it's great that he's pitched in high leverage spots the last few games and been able to get through it, but there's still been a lot of base runners. And until that changes, I don't trust him I don't trust him as much because it's going to bite you in the ass eventually.
That said, he looked very good today and looked good yesterday. Friday, whenever he pitched.
So, whatever the bullpen, closer is, however they get back to it. I mean, the bottom line is the bullpen overall has been good, even if it is kind of mixing and matching and you're rolling the dice with some guys. The numbers at this point on May 7th are very, very good. You said they were ranked first. Are they number 1 in baseball for bullpen?
Before the
By
game,
what measurement? Was it ERA or bullpen WAR or whatever it is? So call it top 5 at the very worst.
I was watching Yes Network, so it's probably ERA.
Yeah. So, but if they're number 1 in ERA, they're going to be close to the top in most categories.
Yeah. They've been executing for the most part.
And the comebacks this weekend, I mean, because they did come back today to tie the game. They came back on Saturday. That was a comeback win, 2-0. Could have been a lot worse if Herman doesn't settle down. And on Friday night as well, they came back. So they didn't go into Tampa and just fall behind early and then roll over and die.
No, they fought. Those were all. You said this at the top of the show. All very competitive games, and Herman pitched really well. He obviously ran into some issues early on. Wasn't helped, but ran into some issues, and then settled down and was very, very good for the rest of his outing. So, we've seen some really good stuff from him over his last few outings as well, which is great. And yeah, you fall behind 2-0, you fight back, you tie, then you take the lead in that game. That's a big deal. And then they shut the door.
It was 3 runs in the 8th inning. DJ RBI double, Bader 2-run pinch hit single on Saturday, and then the night before you got Bader with the massive 3-run home run to tie the game after the Yankees were down 4-0. And in that game on Friday, they went 1 for 8 with runners in scoring position. So they had so many opportunities to cash in that game.
And then today again, Bader is just a machine and hits another big home run, has some good at bats, and is a double shy of the freaking cycle.
Yeah.
The guy's been unbelievable since coming back.
So you can see it's like, well, if you got a healthy Judge, a healthy Stanton, a healthy Bader, and he's performing like we're seeing, the lineup it's night and day. I mean, Hicks today, first extra base. It's May 7th, and homeboy first extra base hit on May 7th. And it's not like, oh, he just started playing. No. He's been getting kind of regular at bats. May 7th, first extra base hit for Aaron Hicks.
I'm so sick of looking at him. His base running performance in the was at the 10th inning when he was the runner at second base and then gets to third base, and the infield's in. It's not a hard hit ball to the shortstop. he's moving immediately. You're not moving on contact on that play. I'm sorry, you're not moving on contact. The infield's in, and the play's in front of you at that point. It's not like there was no shot. He was dead. And he was already far enough off the bag where the play came home, and it was a bonehead play. Thank God that there was enough chaos and a guy got injured, and that's the reason why Glaber ended up on third base. But it's just like immediately bonehead. And then there was no out call, and he's just standing there and not doing anything, and then gets up. It was a masterclass in how to not run the bases by Aaron Hicks, and it was really ugly looking.
That's another thing that we saw all weekend. I feel like both teams are pretty sloppy. The Rays made a bunch of outs on the bases. The Yankees just, I feel like, booted a lot of balls. Like DJ with that ball that goes through his legs on Saturday. Yeah. That's a hard hit ball. They didn't call it an error or anything, but
I'm never going to kill DJ for his defense.
But like,
I'm never going to criticize him for his defense. But yeah, it happened. Unfortunately, it was unfortunate, and that was Herman coming back from something like that is
right. And those are the
big.
only runs that scored.
And DJ's been so good with the bat. I know we'll talk about that, but he's been so good with the bat when very much needed. Like he really does look and look like he's playing healthy again. So that's just such a big deal.
I feel like Glaber just takes plays off mentally. Does it just seem like he's just like the mistakes he makes sometimes? You're just like, were you concentrating? Where was your brain in that moment?
He had some pretty ridiculous range today, fielding that ball at second base,
and he did make a good throw over to third base, and it was charged an error to him. But then it's like he'll just
was on Cabrera.
It was on Cabrera, but
he was out of position. He was out of position. First of all, he should have been towards the bag. That's a much easier hop if you're towards the bag. That was an interesting one. Just quickly, just not to complain about things, but IKF I know is playing all over the place, right? But he's in right field, and you have Cabrera playing third base. They do know that Isaiah Kiner-Falefa won a Gold Glove at third base, right? And that Oswaldo Cabrera can play the outfield and has played right field multiple times and has looked pretty damn good out there. I just don't understand that when you're playing those two guys out of position. Like, why not put IKF at the place where he literally won a Gold Glove in the American League as a third baseman, professional baseball player.
So because Bowers also, it was an adventure with Bowers in the outfield this weekend. And I was just wondering where the Yankees ranked team defensively in baseball. And they ranked 12th. So middle of the pack. But when you look at just like the defensive metrics, the advanced metrics, the Brewers and the Diamondbacks are leading by, actually it's really the Brewers, Diamondbacks, Mariners are leading by a bunch. The Tigers are up there as well. But then when you get to the Yankees at 12, they're 1.2 defense, whereas the Rangers are 13.3. This is on Fangraphs leaderboard. So the Yankees are bunched up with a bunch of teams hovering around +2 and -2 on the list. So call it average. Even though I feel like, some of these plays, wouldn't you say a lot of the mistakes that we've seen the Yankees make in the field are because people are
out of position?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've
yeah.
got
so
a shortstop playing center field or a first baseman playing left field. It's like
the fact that they're middle of the pack with the way that this season has gone so far is actually good.
I was expecting them to be bottom third.
Yeah.
I was shocked they were 12th. I thought they're going to be 23rd.
Well, and it also, if we can get everybody back healthy, and you have, even when Donaldson looked like he was doing a lot of baseball activities hanging around the field today, but you have him as the guy at third staying there, like that solidifies your defense so much now, because you can get DJ at second base a little bit more. You can solidify that outfield by not having to throw another guy at third base. So just even him on the defensive side really does help the run prevention. And obviously with Bader in center field, you're really getting back to that solid core of very good defense. Even, obviously Stanton's a huge bat that we're missing, but if Donaldson does come back in the relative near future and you can plug him in for a third base defensively and he gives you average offense, the team is just so much better for it, because they can now be a little bit more predictable in where they play defensively. And I think that's important. Like, I think they've done a good job plug in where they have and kind of roll with the punches as they've come. But you get a guy like that who is a, Gold Glove caliber third baseman, it does solidify the rest of it a lot, because now people can really start playing their true positions.
It's a domino effect. If you can plug in Donaldson at third or Judge in right field, like it's not even like it's just one of them, because they've got so many guys out playing out of position because you've got multiple people out. If you have Judge in right field, then you've got Bader in center field, and left field is just the one spot. You're not with IKF in left and then Bowers in right field, right? It's like that's a pretty shoddy outfield at that point.
Well, with Donaldson playing third, what that does for your infield defense is it makes it so much better, because now you're able to have Donaldson and DJ LeMahieu on the field at the same time.
Yeah.
And if you have those two guys on the field at the same time, you have two Gold Glovers that are right there with Rizzo, or if LeMahieu's at first base and Rizzo's out, LeMahieu's now patrolling the right side of the field in some capacity, and you have Donaldson who's just a vacuum on that side. And I think it does help even Volpe a little bit with Donaldson's range at third base. So I think Donaldson is a bigger deal defensively. Obviously, Judge, he should be coming back soon. So all of this is a moot point, but yeah, they've been playing well since, considering the fact that they've been all over the place.
You mentioned DJ
defensively.
I want to get to DJ's numbers with runners in scoring position in a second, but first, gotta tell you guys about Athletic Greens AG1, a daily nutritional drink that is loaded with 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source ingredients, probiotics, and adaptogens. Benefits that I have noticed drinking it every single day since October. I've not missed a day since October. That's pretty good. Like how many months is that? That's
a few months.
8 months ish.
That's some months right there.
That's some months. Basically the length of Leanne's pregnancy. It's sort of where my mind is at this point. Supports mental clarity and alertness, promotes gut health with pre and probiotics. It gives better sleep quality and recovery, and it boosts energy. And that sleep quality and recovery is huge, because I do, I'm up between 5:30 and 6 every morning, and I don't wake up feeling like I drank 7 beers the night before. Even when I didn't drink 7 beers the night before, you wake up and you're like, yep, the day's starting. You're ready to go. It's also great for workout recovery. If you drink it right before your workout, or if you're doing something strenuous, then you get those benefits as well. AG1 contains less than 1 gram of sugar, no GMOs, no chemicals, or artificial flavoring. It's also affordable, costs less than $3 per serving, and is super easy to build into your daily routine. AG1 has over 7,000 5-star reviews and is trusted by athletes and health experts around the world. Go to athleticgreens.com/pinstripes and you will get a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs. Again, athleticgreens.com/pinstripes. Thank you, Athletic Greens. As always, really hope you guys try it, because it is an amazing, amazing product.
For the record, if I'm glad Athletic Greens is helping your life, but if you are feeling like you woke up and drank 7 beers the night before, without something else is going on, so you should evaluate the other things as well.
Like in the past, if I woke up at 5:30 in the morning, I would feel hungover even when I didn't drink the night before, because you didn't get much sleep. That was my point.
Okay, maybe
Not
evaluate.
Not you?
Nah. I operate on 4 to 5 hours of sleep daily at this point.
DJ LeMahieu came in today ranked where he was you sent the image. I forget exactly where he was ranked with runners in scoring position, but his slash line was 417, 464, 542 entering Sunday. 2 outs and runners in scoring position, 313, 353, 313. Men on base, 325, 378, 400. Late and close, 313, 353, 313. And in high leverage spots, 294, 368, 353. No matter how you slice it or dice it, when the game counts, when the situation is important, DJ LeMahieu is producing. I feel like I need to get partial credit for my bold prediction, because I did say DJ LeMahieu was going to win the batting title this year. I think I said around a 330 batting average. Is there like a batting title for runners in scoring position? Can we?
No, but he would be 5th in that in the American League in that.
But there's still a lot of time. There's still a lot of time.
And number 1, Alvarez at 500, Simeon at 500,
Alvarez 1 for 2, right?
467, and Ruiz at 441. So there's some stiff competition.
Yeah. But DJ has been, even though the numbers aren't eye-popping overall, He's been more close to the DJ LeMahieu pre-injury last year, also 2019, 2020 DJ LeMahieu. He's been closer to that player than he was injured DJ LeMahieu of 2020, 2021, second half 2022.
Yeah, he's been really good, and we just spent a good amount of time talking about the defense. That's the other piece of this. Like, the guy helps you so significantly on the defensive side because of his flexibility and the fact that he can play first base as well as anywhere else in the infield, except for shortstop, which I still don't believe that he can't play shortstop, but he just hasn't. He's been phenomenal. The fact that he's hitting with runners in scoring position as well is not surprising. The guy's clutch. The guy knows how to situationally hit. That's the beautiful thing about him. Before the shift, he's never a guy that was heavily shifted on because he could spray the ball from line to line, and that's what he does. He has a different approach for different situations, and he executes at a high level because the guy just knows how to handle the bat. And you can tell, like, that toe and anything on the lower half. If you have a lower half injury as a baseball player and you're trying to hit a ball, which is arguably the hardest thing to do in sports, you are a shell of yourself. You cannot do the thing if you have a lower half injury, even if it's on a foot, because all of that is connected with the way that you rotate through the ball and how much power you can generate. And if one thing is off in that mechanical flow, then you're in trouble, because then you have to try to figure out how to do something in a way that your body doesn't want you to do. And I think I know he was really held back, obviously, by that injury. And the offseason, there was a lot of discussion, right, about surgery, no surgery, are we getting a plate?
It was
like doing the things
deep into the offseason they were still deciding.
And obviously they made the right move here, and they let it kind of take care of itself and realize that surgery, because again, I think the surgery would have limited his mobility on that foot. But
remember, we were joking, wasn't it? Like, they were deciding between surgery on 2 toes or no toes. It was like, what happened to just 1 toe? Like,
yeah,
2 or none.
You got to staple them together. You got to mount those.
How many would you say DJ is 4th on the shortstop depth chart?
On the shortstop depth chart?
Yeah, like the active roster right now.
Yeah,
Volpe, obviously. And then if Volpe can't go at short, it's probably going to be IKF, right?
Okay. No.
No.
It's probably going to,
Peraza
if he's there,
right.
And then Cabrera, IKF. IKF's not really sniffing shortstop very much these days.
They might put DJ there before they put IKF at this point.
I'm going to put Glaber there before. Glaber.
Is it safe to say 5th on the shortstop depth chart? Glaber would get the spot before.
Glaber would get it.
So it would be 6th behind Glaber.
Yeah. Which,
okay.
What are we talking about?
It's like the game on the line, ball hit the shortstop, and it's Glaber Torres or DJ LeMahieu.
Oh, DJ LeMahieu every day of the week. Yeah, I would say that probably. He might like sneak into the top 2 if the ball's hit at them. Oh yeah, I'm putting DJ anywhere in the infield.
You mentioned some of those injury updates. Donaldson is going to ramp up baseball activities during this homestand, and then we'll begin a rehab assignment soon after that. Giancarlo Stanton is, quote, doing well, but no further details beyond that, according to Aaron Boone. And then the big one, Carlos Rodon with a chronic back issue now. Doctors have described it as a chronic back issue, even though it's not painful for him. It just doesn't feel right. He's going to get a cortisone shot early this week. There's no target date for his return. Rodon, he was quoted, "Whenever my body tells me I can throw and everyone agrees that I can throw, then I'll start throwing." And then Meredith said this on Friday night's broadcast.
That is such a wide open area.
This really pissed me off. Okay, so Meredith is giving her injury updates on Friday night's broadcast, and she was going through it. And then she said, Rodon said that if it were up to him, he would be out there. And I took a pause, and I was like, that's not true. Because
that's not what he's saying.
The Yankees tried to have him start his throwing program, and he said, no, my back doesn't feel right. So
my neck and my back.
It was up to him, and he said it's not right. Because tests clean, no structural damage to the back. So at that point, it's kind of up to him. If he's going to say, I'm just going to go, no structural damage, might be a little off, but I'm going to figure this out. But that's not what's happening here. So no, that's not true, Carlos. It is up to you, and you're not pitching.
Right. The doctors have looked you up and down. There's nothing. Well, so the word chronic gets me every time. The word chronic, when I hear of a chronic injury, does that mean it's been there for a while, or it's going to be there for a while? But when you have like,
it's like a chronic drinking problem.
What is that? What is a chronic drinking problem?
Bad.
You have a drinking problem and it's chronic. No, I don't think that works. I don't think that works there. But the chronic piece of this back injury, does that mean where he's gonna continue to deal with this chronic injury, or is that something that he has dealt with in the past and we didn't know about?
The definition of chronic, related to an illness,
not the chronic,
persisting for a long time or constantly recurring.
Okay, right. So it's been persisting for a long time, or it's not going away. So they're calling it chronic because of that, because there's nothing there, but there's chronic. So it's like tendonitis. Mm-hmm. Tendonitis is chronic, right? That kind of makes sense.
It's like, my drinking problem, it's been around since 1997.
Yeah. You keep going back to this drinking problem thing, but just making 7 beers, waking up, like I'm starting to think that there's an issue here. Maybe that's why you're in the basement. It has nothing to do with anything else. But
I haven't had a drink in 3 days.
So I don't quite understand what the deal. And so he's getting a cortisone shot in this injury that is not showing up anywhere. Yeah. And are they just like flying blind here, trying to shoot the. You got to shoot the spot too, because you got to hit that spot.
Exactly.
So he's like,
Flaherty said this.
So he's pointing. He's pointing. He's like,
but I thought it wasn't painful.
I can't reach. So it's not painful, but you can feel it. So it's like he's got his thumb on his back, like using a mirror, and like, no, not there, right there. Yep.
Flaherty said this on the broadcast. He said, you got to hit the spot with the shot.
That's where I got that from, I think.
And so, but every report up until now has been, it's not like a painful back issue. It just doesn't feel right. So he might know upper
what
back,
does that mean?
Lower back, left side of my back, middle back, or whatever. But are we just saying, like, are we doing quadrants? Are we doing the shot in a quadrant at this point? Like, I've never heard of a cortisone shot for something that isn't really a problem, because basically up until now, the back hasn't really been. They're not saying this is a problem. It just doesn't feel right, and it's kind
chronic.
It's chronic, and he needs a cortisone shot. So there's a problem, obviously, that they're not telling us about.
I don't know. I hope the cortisone shot fixes it. But again, like, now that he's been on the shelf for however long, he's going to have to completely ramp up again. So
second half,
we're a
at
month,
this point.
at least a month plus from the day he picks up a baseball again.
And then he needs probably 4 to 6 weeks of ramping up to ready to start a Major League Baseball game.
Well,
he needs a full spring training.
Okay, fine, but that doesn't happen anymore because we're in the middle of a season and this team is struggling. So you get to a point where you can throw 3 to 4 innings, and then I want him ramping up in the Bronx. I want him ramping up on this team. Yes, I do. Of course I do. Why do I want him ramping up to get to the full 7 to be able to throw 100 pitches in the minor leagues?
What if he's UI?
Well, then he is UI. That's a different story. That's a different story. This goes back to him and his mental strength and how he does things. I don't know. It's not my opinion is not in a good place so far with him. But yeah, if he's healthy and he's just ramping up and building up arm strength and he's pitching and able to pitch well after a couple of weeks here, and it's just a matter of like getting in the reps to get the arm strength up, do it up here.
You know what else? Shave the mustache, okay? Because here's why. You grow a mustache on the Yankees when you're playing well, and then you've like earned the right to grow the facial hair. And it's like, you can't grow the full beard, so I'm going to do the mustache, and it's funny. And like Jason Giambi dyes it jet black, and he's like greasy and hitting bombs. And it's like, Jason Giambi mustache, blah, blah, blah. Or like when the Yankees did the mustache rides, whatever season that was, 2015.
Mustache rides? I don't know if it was a mustache ride, dude.
I think we joked about it being mustache rides. Okay. I'm pretty sure we joked about it being mustache rides. You don't grow a mustache when you just signed a contract and you've thrown 1 spring training inning for the New York Yankees, and you've got a chronic back issue, and you got to get a cortisone shot.
Then that's when the mustache looks is a little fucking weird now. Okay, now the mustache is a little weird. Let's get rid of it. Yeah, I'm fine with that. Yeah.
See, I'm already starting to hate Carlos Rodon, and he hasn't even gone out there and pitched yet.
No, he did one time, and he tried to throw really hard to show everybody that he could throw hard, and then he hurt himself because he's an idiot. And I called it in live time while it was happening.
That was
dumb shit.
I thought you were just jumping the gun on something.
Nah.
I don't know how you called that. How did you call that?
My stomach was making weird noises. I could feel it in my gut.
Oh, boy.
Maybe it was the mustache.
It was the mustache, yeah. Well, if you're looking to kick off your summer right, you should do so with Shady Rays. Our friends at Shady Rays have you covered with premium polarized shades that are just as good as any expensive pair you can find. They're lightweight and durable, which is the best combination out there. The company has the most insane protection in all of eyewear. If you lose your pair or you break it and it's even day one, they're going to send you a new pair, no questions asked. They're also a company that you can feel good when you're buying. To date, they've donated over 20 million meals to fight hunger with Feeding America. Scott, they're really, really nice sunglasses. And if you're looking for a Mother's Day gift, which is next week, maybe get two pairs with our code. And you can give your mom some flowers and some Shady Rays. They're giving their best deal to our listeners. Go to shadyrays.com, use promo code Bronx for 50% off 2 or more pairs of polarized sunglasses. Go check them out. We know you're going to love them. Again, code Bronx for 50% off 2 or more pairs at shadyrays.com. Thank you, Shady
I will say
Rays.
Bevan has stolen my Shady Rays glasses multiple times because she likes them. They look good on her too. I'm not going to lie.
We've got our event coming up end of the month, Memorial Day weekend, May 27th, Saturday, 1 p.m. versus the Padres. We're doing a pregame at the dugout from 10:30 to 12:30, or just get there at 6 a.m. I don't know when the dugout opens, but get there when they open. We'll be there.
Let's hopefully they open and there's no sticker on the door. Like that's happened. I'm not going to say that hasn't happened a couple of times. It has.
We'll find a new bar if that's the case. We're going to be in section 205, and you also get custom Bronx Pinstripes event tee, the Pinstripe Heart. It is up on our website right now. Go to bronxpinstripes.com/fanshop, and you will see the event listing. Also, go check out our social media. We have been tweeting it out, so you will see it there. It's $75, which is a great deal. It's a premium matchup Saturday game of a holiday weekend. You also get a t-shirt, and it's going to be a hell of a lot of fun. I am very much looking forward to it. I'm going to Uber in because
I'm going to Uber it. Good idea.
Yeah, because of my drinking problem.
Because of your drinking problem. Well, that's good. I'm glad you're ahead of the drinking problem. No reason to ever get behind the wheel.
No. The Yankees are playing Oakland this week. The A's suck. I was looking up their pitching staff ranks. They have been historically bad. They've got a 7.29 team ERA and a 6.20 FIP. They are the only team in Major League Baseball to combine for negative WAR as a pitching staff, minus 3.1. They're so bad. You have to just demolish this team.
You do know that Schmidt and Brito are also pitching in that.
Okay.
So the great equalizers of Clark Schmidt and Brito.
Those guys' ERAs are like 5.5, 6. The pitching staff for Oakland is 7.29. So the Yankees should score 7 runs and only give up 5 runs.
So bet the over.
Bet the over
weekend.
This week.
Yeah,
the over this week. The score is going to be 7-5 every single night.
Yeah, no, they should absolutely take care of this team. There's they're not a good baseball team, and like we said, being bookend by the Tampa Rays, you need to find it a little bit right now. You need to find how to consistently play, and what better time than against a bad opponent. The one injury, and Logan, you may have more information on this, but we're approaching 10-day IL. No, for when Judge was retroactive to the previous Friday, right? So what are we looking at with him?
We're expecting to see him activated on Tuesday, according to Boone.
Okay, great.
If all goes well.
So that's huge. Having him back on Tuesday, getting him in a couple games.
They'll probably DH him, right? They'll probably play him and then DH him a couple days. And
that's fine.
Day off,
yeah. They'll do they're activating him Tuesday. He's eligible to come Monday, so I'm wondering if he's going to kind of treat Monday like an off day,
and then
they'll play Tuesday, Wednesday, maybe DH Thursday, something like that.
Yeah, and then Friday he'll probably sit because they're playing the Rays, and when he sees the Rays uniform, he'll think of the Tampa turf, and then that'll be sore for him.
No, he's not going to sit. They're going to get him ready
Yeah, I don't think he's
during
gonna
this
sit.
Oakland series so that he can be all firing on all cylinders with Tampa. But that's huge. Having
hold on.
Bader. So this is happening. Obviously, we said Donaldson's ramping up activity, but having Judge in there with Bader, I mean the right side of the outfield solidified, done.
Oh yeah.
And now you just focus on
Rotating door of crap
not
in left field.
screwing up left field. Yeah.
Because I said Tampa jerseys made me think. What did you think of the Devil Rays unis on Friday night?
Okay, so
They're
as much shit
like
as I've given,
I
I haven't. I haven't given the Rays the Devil Rays treatment in quite some time because they've frankly earned the respect to not
good.
Talk about that way anymore. And it's not like you could. Those uniforms were pretty sweet.
Yeah, they're pretty nice. Pretty nice. I like those throwbacks. Those are good.
They're kind of cool, and like the guys embrace it with all the different multicolor like
so much better than the
necklaces
star.
and
so much better than the star.
Yeah, they're pretty cool looking, honestly, and it fits like I don't know, it fits the way that a lot of uniforms are trending with the flashy colors. Like it does. It doesn't look bad.
So Logan just asked a very important question in our chat. Does Hicks get DFA'd when Judge returns? What percentage, I don't think it's going to happen, but what percentage chance do you give Hicks DFA when Judge is activated?
I don't think it's going to happen at this time. So I think 15%.
Yeah,
I think it's low.
I'm not
getting the gut vibe feeling.
No, he just got an extra base hit, so he bought himself another like 5 weeks.
I literally said that when he hit the ball. I went, "Oh great, now he'll be here for another few weeks."
It was a ground ball to third base.
The third baseman was playing off the line.
Yes.
They're going to have to lose somebody, I think, when they activate Judge.
Are they going to lose someone?
Is Bowers? Bowers doesn't have options.
Peraza. I don't believe Bowers has an option. Obviously, Willie Calhoun doesn't have an option.
Willie Calhoun is not going anywhere.
If Willie Calhoun gets
been red hot.
If Willie Calhoun or even Bowers, like I know Bowers didn't play well in the field. There were multiple times, but the way that he was hitting in AAA and he's already, he gives you.
Yeah, but
I'm sorry, but he gives you that's way more hope than I've gotten in 3 years from Aaron Hicks.
So then you've got to
just
put
Peraza
down. They're going to send Peraza down.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, because you have another. You don't need him at that point.
Because you say, now Logan? Do you need another infielder at that point?
No.
Well, I mean, you have to treat IKF like an infielder, which it doesn't seem like they do.
Yeah, but
why was he playing third base today?
That's a good question. No, I don't know, but maybe Boone forgot he won the Gold Glove at third base. But when Judge comes back, you have way too many outfielders at that point, and then so IKF can go to the infield.
The real question is going to happen is when Donaldson comes back. That's
way out. And
to me, that's the Hicks DFA. That is the Hicks DFA.
If everyone is still healthy whenever Donaldson comes back, then good problem to have.
Unless Calhoun and Bowers play terribly. Then
well, that's also a possibility, right? It's like Willie Calhoun has had a few nice, offensive days, but
I like Willie Calhoun. I want Willie Calhoun.
What if he goes 2 for his next 26, right? It's like
I would rather have Willie Calhoun. I like the way he looks. I like everything about him. I like him as a baseball player on this team, and I would rather watch him play baseball than watch Aaron Hicks play baseball. And that's all right. That's it.
That's going to wrap it up. We'll be back again to talk after the
He cares more. He cares more. Okay?
Sure. Again, Memorial Day weekend, BP Crew event. Go get those tickets on BronxPinstripes.com. And thank you to Shady Rays and Athletic Greens for sponsoring today. We'll talk to you in a few days.